Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 3 edition of the Border NFL Gurus Commissioner's Address. As always, I will be your host and still your trusted commissioner. Another exciting week. We had some upsets in the making here, couple stinkers, but for the most part, everybody's team showed up. We had one team not crack 100 points this week, which I'll get into that in a bit here. And it's a good thing they didn't, because otherwise their opponent would have been 0-3. And 0-3 is not good. Injuries are still piling up. Saquon Barkley with that high ankle sprain. That's probably the big injury. And that throws a big wrench into Danny Chuckin's scorching offensive ways so far. But I digress. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into Joe Buck Yourself versus Race Finkles. Joe Buck Yourself managed to take this one 114-74. Race Finkles, obviously the team that did not crack 100. This is literally the only team I think Joe Buck Yourself would have beat this week, so couldn't come at a better week for him. Moves him up to 1-2 and drops Race Finkles down to 1-2. Joe Buck Yourself in 10th and Race Finkles in 11th. Joe Buck Yourself led offensively again by Deshaun Watson. Fucking guy's a wizard, man. So good. Aaron Jones, 2-touchdown day. Those 2 touchdowns really salvaged what would have been an absolute nothing day. So that panned out. And Minkah Fitzpatrick at the safety position with 11. Shaq Thompson with 12. Race Finkles led by David Johnson with 12. Marshawn Lattimore, his corner, with 12. Outside of that, pretty ugly. We'll see how much longer he's going to stick with Baker on this one. On this season, I mean, the old Browns are 0-3, and Baker hasn't exactly been scorching it up for him so far, so to speak. He finished with 11. Anyway, Joe Buck Yourself picking up the win. Needed that one. Moving over to Billy Large versus Rogers Dodgers. Billy Large picking up the win here, 127-107. So Joe Buck Yourself would have beat Rogers Dodgers too this week, but I think that's it. That moves Billy up to 2-1 and puts him in 6th, and drops Craig down to 2-1 and puts him in 5th. Billy led by Carson Wentz in that loss to Detroit. Detroit 3-0. Come on. San Fran 3-0. Like, quietly doing it too, I might add. Wentz with 27. Tyler Lockett with 23. Nick Chubb was okay with 13. Rogers Dodgers led by Amari Cooper, as the Cowboys also proceeded to pump the Dolphins this week. Zeke was quiet though, but they didn't need him. Van Der Esch, that 4th round linebacker pick with a whopping 5 points, but I digress. Anyway, Billy picking up the win, putting him in 6th, leaving Craig in 5th. Moving over to, my computer will hurry up here, then I can proceed to move forward. Come on. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Hanging with Hernandez versus Rosterbation. Hanging with Hernandez, I do believe this is a record, 186.84 points. It's a record for this league anyway. Knocking off Rosterbation, 186-131. Rosterbation didn't have a bad week. 131 points is decent. But when you run into a freight train like that, it can get out of hand real quick, as we've seen. That moves Hanging with Hernandez up to 1st in the league with a 2-1 record, but his points for really took a jump this week. And Rosterbation dropped down to 9th with a 1-2 record. Hanging with Hernandez led by Dak with 26, Keenan Allen with 30, Kamara with 28, Ingram with 31. That running back tandem is panning out big time for him. Exact same tandem, it's just Ingram's on Baltimore this year, so more carries for him. So it's really working out for him. Ty had 12. He also left that game with an injury. 186 points. Can't say much negative about his week. Rosterbation, Mike Evans, 37 points, $190 in the air, 3 touchdowns. It's huge. And McCaffrey with 24. Still sticking with Kyler Murray. I don't know, man. I'm not a believer. I think you got to move on. I've seen, I think Stafford's still available or Andy Dalton. I'm not sure, whichever. But I just don't think that's your guy unless you're banking on garbage time. But regardless, that moves Brian up to first again, 2-1, and drops Rosterbation down to 9th with a 1-2 mark. Moving over to Plug the Plug versus Suck My Ditka. This one was a little less than a 1.5 difference going into the Monday Nighter. Another Monday night snooze fest, too. Man, the Redskins are bad. They're a bad football team as well. Anyway, Suck My Ditka had a corner going into that game, Kyle Fuller off the Bears, and needed at least 2 points. Got 8.5. Picked up the win, 136.2 to 126. Moving Suck My Ditka up to 2-1 and 7th in the league. And dropping Plug the Plug to 1-2 and putting them in the 8th spot. Suck My Ditka led by Jacoby Brissett, who's been a nice addition. Colts are playing well with 24. Cooper Kupp with 23. Mixon with 15. And Will Dissly with 12. Calais Campbell also had that huge Thursday night game. 13 points, 3 sacks. And Plug the Plug led by Philip Lindsay with 25 in a losing effort. That's rough. Fournette, not doing a lot. Lamar Jackson got out-dueled by Patty Mahomes boy. Mahomes is just too good. Like, that Chiefs offense is just ridiculous. It doesn't even look like Mahomes is even being challenged out there. I want to see them play the Bears. I don't know if they play this year or not, but that defense against that offense, then we might have ourselves a game. But outside of that, I can't see anyone's defense shutting the Chiefs down. But regardless, Suck My Ditka taking that one, 136-126. And moving over to Skull versus Danny Chuckin. Iggy picking up the win here, 136-122. Moving him up to 2-1 and putting him in 4th, and dropping Danny Chuckin down to 2-1, but still leaving them in 3rd. Skull led by Delvin Cook, who's been nice this year. They are running the ball a ton in Minnesota. Marlon Mack, Austin Hooper, it's kind of a one-off. He needed it too. 18 points, 2 receiving touchdowns for him. Nice day. His defense also put up a nice day. And Danny Chuckin led by Tom Brady. Frank Gore, the ageless wonder, and her defense also had a really nice day. 15, 13, 10, 11. So it was a tight game, but nonetheless, Iggy picking up the win, and he is currently sitting in the 4 spot. So welcome back. And closing it out with Vic This versus the Panty Raiders. Panty Raiders losing this one, 123-117. That moves Vic This up to 2nd place in the league with a 2-1 mark, and drops Panty Raiders down to 0-3. The dreaded 0-3 start makes it tough to come back. Vic This led by Patty Mahomes again, Julio Jones. And his defense was solid. Outside of that, not a lot going on. Panty Raiders led by Adam Thielen. Kerryon Johnson, I guess, was okay. And his linebackers, 28 combined. So those IDP players are making a big difference this year. It's always good to see that, that's a big decision to make at the beginning of the week. But let's move over to our blowout of the week. And that blowout of the week belongs to Rosterbation again. I'm pretty sure he was last week. Yeah, I think you got pumped by Danny chucking last week by 100 and some points, but I'd have to go back and check. Regardless, Randy, you are our blower of the week. So congratulations. If it was back-to-back, even all the more impressive. So good on you. And moving over to our Jackass of the Week. Well, you know what? That is just going to belong to the one guy that's still searching for that elusive first win. Keith, you are our Jackass of the Week, sitting there in the basement 0-3 all by yourself. It's dark, it's cold, you're scared. I wish I could say we've all been there. I haven't, but we've had a few guys that have, and hopefully you find some light at the end of the tunnel this week. There's no guarantee. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is no guarantee that you are ever going to find that first win. But you know what? We're all pulling for you. Looking ahead to next week, we got Joe Buck Yourself versus Billy Large. Joe Buck Yourself needs that win. Hanging with Hernandez versus Clug the Plug. Clug also looking for that win. He's sitting at 1-2. Skull versus Panty Raiders. Maybe this is a week Panty Raiders picks up that first dub. Let's see. Rays Finkles versus Vic this. Let's see if Rays Finkles can get that offense back on track up against, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, which is tough. Rogers Dodgers against Rosterbation, projected to win big in that one. And Suck My Ditka versus Danny Chuck and TDs. There's literally a .01 difference in point projection in that one. The battle of the ladies of the league. So both 2-1. So it should be a dandy. Yeah, that about wraps it up for this week. Fees paid. You know what? I'm going to move it out a week to before week 5 because I'm gone this weekend. So I can't accept your payment anyway. But before week 5, if you're not paid up by week 5, you're going to start forfeiting games. So fair 2-week notice. And that's about all I got for you. Until then, keep playing that wire. All hail the commish.